We're going to transition to the second part of the Guardians topic, but first, tell us a little about Menu RX.
So Menu RX is awesome. Dr. Jake May, I'm actually talking to him tomorrow morning. If you're looking to get in better shape, to lose weight, to just find out what food fuels your body properly, you can watch Instagram videos from some guy who's talking out his ass. You don't know what his qualifications are. At Menu RX, you're talking with doctors, with scientists who study this for a living, nutritionists. Dr. Jake May is all of the above, and he is passionate about nutrition, weight loss, food, and studying. He's working on this one study. It's just fascinating. I can't even get into it because it's so complicated. But this guy is obsessed with nutrition, and he's a former football player. He's from Cleveland, and he could be your consultant or somebody else. Whatever program you want to get on, they will do metabolic testing on you to find out what foods work best for your body. There's no one-size-fits-all when it comes to nutrition, weight loss, or any of those things. So go to menu-rx.com. If you sign up now, you get a 1-year subscription to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show for free. That's a $60 value for nothing at menu-rx.com.
All right, Bull, so let's take what you said and go a little further.
Yeah.
If the Guardians do play out the scenario which you expect, and they do become sellers at the deadline, some names that could be traded include Emmanuel Clase, and I've even seen online that Steven Kwan might be somebody the other teams would have interest in. If there's any other big-name players, feel free to throw them into this conversation. I don't think we have to go over the smaller-name guys if they wanted to ship them off for small pieces, but if Clase and/or Kwan were actually on the table, Bull, what kind of return do you think the Guardians would be looking at to trade two of their better players? Obviously in different deals. I can't imagine it would be one deal.
So Clase, even though I know he blew his last save, but he's overall been very good since early in the season. Clase would bring a big return back. You'd be able to get 3 or 4 players, depending on how good the best player was in the deal. With Zach and I on the Guardian show, we came up with 8 teams that would make a lot of sense for the Guardians to trade Clase. The Yankees, the Giants, the Cubs, the Dodgers, the Tigers. And the Tigers would be tricky because it's harder to trade within the division.
Man.
The Rangers, the Blue Jays. There was one other team, I can't think of it right now. And some of those
Padres.
teams. No, their bullpen's really strong. That's a strength of theirs. But a lot of those teams. So, for example, I'll throw the Cubs because I know them best with the Guardians. The Cubs have a top 10 farm system, and the Cubs have prospects that are ready to play in the majors. One of the Cubs' best hitting prospects is a guy named Owen Cassey. He's an outfielder, another outfielder they won't call up. Owen Cassey's ready to play in the majors, but the Cubs are loaded in the outfield. There's no place for him to play. So that's why he's in AAA. Otherwise, he would have, if he were on a bad team, if he were on the White Sox or something, he would have gotten an opportunity probably to play in the majors.
He's the Imani Bates of baseball.
No, he's more highly thought of than that.
He almost got
I almost got him.
Yeah.
That was good.
It almost hit him.
And that's what I do. They're not going to. I don't think they'll trade Steven Kwan. The Guardians never completely blow it up. They want to, their version of go for it again next year. Kwan's not going to bring you back a huge return because he's not a power hitter.
Jason said they're going to trade him next year.
They might. What do you mean? Next year? Well,
he said probably like this upcoming off season. You will
maybe.
You will
I don't
hear
think
his name.
so.
Because they said they tried to offer him an extension. He turned it
I
down.
think one more year before they trade him, but we'll see. But I think Clase could definitely be traded. It is a seller's market, which is the only reason maybe they traded Kwan. I don't know. It's a seller's market. There are a lot of buyers, and if you look at the sellers, the Rockies have essentially nothing to trade. The White Sox have Luis Robert. That's about it. The Pirates, they're not going to trade Paul Skeens, so they have very little to trade. Some of those teams don't have anything to trade. Emmanuel Clase would be one of the most valuable trade chips, and they could. Now, will they get it right? I don't know. There were a lot of people who thought they were baseball geniuses who, when I was pissed off that the Guardians traded Francisco Lindor, a year later were telling me, well, Andres Jimenez is better than Lindor.
They made that deal. Look how they cooked with that.
Lindor's still a superstar.
Super.
And they don't have a single player from that trade, the Guardians. Not one guy. So essentially, they traded Francisco Lindor for Luis Ortiz. Congratulations. You got a mediocre starting pitcher. Maybe he'll be better than that. Maybe he'll end up being a good starting pitcher. For an all-star guy who might be a Hall of Famer someday in Francisco Lindor. And I know it would have cost $300 million at the time, or $260 million, whatever it was at the time, to sign him. They could have. What was that?
He's also worth it.
He's worth it, and they should have done it. And then you would have had 2 cornerstone hitters. But they didn't do it, and they didn't get anything for him. Nothing, because they traded Jimenez away, like I said, for Luis Ortiz and a couple of minor leaguers.
So you're perfect to ask this question. So you know how last week or 2 weeks ago you went on a rant about how all their top prospects and their minors do nothing. Why are you comfortable with them trading Clase and Kwan for minor leaguers?
Only because
it scares me.
That's fair.
We ain't developed nothing in 12 years.
That's fair, but
it scares me.
Some of the players, the type of players I'm talking about, are guys that already play in the big leagues. Other teams have already developed them.
Okay.
Like, look at Kyle Manzardo. I know he's slumping. And that's another thing. Why did Kyle Manzardo sit on the bench for a week? That was ridiculous. I know he's in a slump, but he's been your third best player, 4th at worst this season. Why you'd ever sit him, I have no idea. The Guardians should immediately, I know he's had an okay season. I'd still trade Carlos Santana today. Trade him. You're not getting it. You get a minor league nothing. Whatever. Get rid of him. We need at-bats for young players. I want to see Kyle Manzardo playing first base, C.J. Kafis playing DH, and I want Chase DeLauder in right field today.
You kick David Fry out the lineup?
I don't give a rat's ass about David Fry.
Hey.
This is why I be talking about it. I like what you're saying, because if you're not going, like let's be clear. Everybody know what the Guardian ceiling is. We know if you're going to play every single veteran and squeeze all the juice out of a stone, you still going to be a wild card team, possibly get to the second round. You're not going to the World Series. That's not about to happen. You don't got the horses for that. So my thing is, if you don't got that, play your young guys and let them develop.
That's right. That's it.
At least
give the fans something. What is there to watch? I mean, why would you go to a Guardians game? Frankly, it's painful to watch them play on TV right now. They stink. Their lineup stinks. Their pitching's okay, but like there's nobody on the Guardians besides Jose that's worth saying, like, I'm going to the ballpark to watch this guy.
McNuggets, it's like they want to be grinders. Like, I don't want to grind. Like, some people get caught in the struggle. Like, yeah, bro, I got out the mud. I'm still struggling today, and I'm 45. Nobody wants to struggle when you're 45. That's not the point.
Yeah.
Like, if you're the Guardians, I get that you need some runs. I get the fact that you got some restraints. But you don't have to be a grinder and get 1 run or 2 runs every game and make that your identity. It's almost like they don't want, like, nah, we gonna let them marinate. The marinating is over.
Last year, didn't we have like good fan attendance?
Yes.
Yeah, and the attendance was decent this year. It's
So,
probably declining now.
I would imagine, because we're not hitting a lot of home runs. See, last year we finished top half of the league in home runs.
Yeah.
Because I predicted it.
And you had Josh Naylor.
But now that we're not really hitting home
Cleveland's
runs.
23rd in attendance this year, by the way.
Where are we at on home runs? Where are we ranking home runs?
Well, they're 5th to the bottom in runs scored, so they got to be near the bottom in home runs.
Give me 1 second.
Guardians, I was looking at it this morning. They're 26th in runs scored, ahead of the Pirates, the Rockies, the White Sox.
See, that's boring.
Yeah. And they don't even have a pitcher like as bad. Like, obviously the Pirates are a way worse organization than Cleveland. But at least if you're a Pirate fan, you can go watch Paul Skeens once every 5 days. He's an exciting young pitcher. I think Guardians don't have a guy like that.
You know what's scary?
Guardians are 18th in home runs.
Okay. I'm surprised they're even that high.
That's not bad.
You know what's scary, Tyvis?
That's not bad.
If we root for the Guardians to win a World Series, watch this. It would almost be, it's hard to say somebody winning the World Series is a bad thing, but it would prove them right.
that they don't have to spend money.
Because if they won a World Series by nickel and diming their roster, they would never pay anybody.
But you know what? Here's the thing. Like in 2016, they weren't nickel and diming. They spent more money. Now, they didn't have a massive payroll, but it was way higher than it is now.
Ain't it like $50-60 million almost like
I
more
think
than
their
it was?
payroll that year was 130 something or 140. And remember, that's 10 years ago. So with inflation, that's equivalent to maybe, I don't know, 160, 170. That's a big difference.
Huge.
You know, and in the 90s.
In 16,
Yeah.
the teams.
Was it 130 payroll?
In 16, I'm looking at
125.
Legacy Baseball Prospectus. It says it was 96.3 million in
No,
16, and then
that's
jumped to
wrong.
125 in 2017.
That can't be right.
That was Encarnacion? Yeah.
Yeah, well, then they spent money that offseason. Remember, they made aggressive trades at the deadline, getting Andrew Miller, who was a huge difference maker. They were spending. That's wrong. There's no way their payroll was 90-something.
You know what's messed up?
I'll look at a different
Yeah.
website to check.
Jason Kipnis will be a superstar in the squad.
Oh yeah, he was a good player.
But back then, it's like, okay, it's Kipnis. It's not like Kipnis was like a bad player.
But he made the All-Star team.
But if we had Kipnis today,
He's your third best player.
Both two different websites say it's right in the same. This one has it at 104 million.
I don't know how that's right. What website is that?
Spotrac and Baseball Prospectus.
I don't know how that's possible. Let look at Cott's baseball contract. I don't know how it's possible.
you can go to
their
you,
payroll.
Nickel and dime.
you could go to thebarbershop.com and it'll say Minimoski.
Yeah, Cott's Baseball. That's what I'm looking at right now.
Yeah, they said it was 90 million in 2016.
96.304,
Minimum.
Damn, I don't know how that was possible.
and then it jumped up 30 million the next 2 years.
Yeah, the next 2 years. So they did spend after. That doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know.
I know that.
All right, maybe I'm wrong about 16, but they spent after that. They followed up that great season by spending in 17 on Encarnacion.
So
but even still, even if it was 100 million, which okay, my brain's off. That's still 10 years ago, and now 10 years later, they're at the same spot.
Where is like the Dodgers at?
The Dodgers, you can't even. I mean, that's just
Both. I just texted you a
what it
picture of the
Yeah.
chart. Make sure I'm reading that right. I don't want to give people.
I just wanted to know, like, is it that where the Dodgers at right now? Is it that big of a difference?
This season, the Dodgers team payroll, according to that same website, is 225 million.
And where's the Guardians this year?
Minimoski.
99 million.
This year?
Yeah.
You say the Dodgers what now?
Tavis.
No, you're right, Mike. Well, it was 100 million. That was their opening day payroll was 96, but still, by the end, it was still 100.
So, but here's
And then it went to 136,
that's
146,
absurd.
123. So for the next 3 years, and remember, that 100 was a jump up of 14 million from the year before, and it was a jump up of 31 million off of 4
And
years.
Lindor wasn't getting paid yet either.
but
right.
But you got to always.
And they had good
Did I
players
hear
that were
him
young,
right?
but then the payroll jumped 36 million the following year, then another 10. Then they went down a little bit, but they were still at 123. And ever since then, you
that
know,
COVID bag.
Now listen, I knew it was bad.
yeah.
I didn't know it was that bad. We had 99 million and the Dodgers at 225.
Dodgers is 225, and that's just because they've deferred a lot of money on some of their contracts.
Man, you know.
It's worse than that.
Yeah, like if Shohei Ohtani was
they
Shohei
tripping.
Ohtani is
Like,
only
he-
getting
Tavis,
paid
the
two.
Mets are 322 million.
Yeah,
Well, they ain't got nothing to show for.
you knew it was bad
They,
when Bull
the Mets
came in
ain't got
here.
nothing to show for.
Remember last year Bull came in here and hyped us up about that new Japanese pitcher?
Rory
Sasaki.
Sasaki.
he's been hurt.
Rory.
And then he had to also then come in like a couple weeks later and be like, never mind, the Dodgers got him.
Yeah,
He said that was going to happen.
I said he was going to sign there or the Padres, and I also said sign Gleyber Torres, who's been great.
You ain't going to let
for the
that
Tigers.
one go,
I'm
is
not
you?
letting that go because he'd be a great addition to this lineup.
We ain't got no money. We can't afford
They
it.
could have afforded him. They wasted money again on Austin Hedges, a useless player, for $4 million.
Camaraderie.
They wasted money on Scott Barlow in the last few years. They've wasted money on Hedges, Barlow,
Zanino.
Zunino, Josh Bell. What's
Josh
his name?
Bell
Jacob
left here was
Junis,
starting
Seawald?
knocking him out the
Carlos
park.
Santana, Paul Sewald.
Dang, I forgot they even had Seawalds.
All
I ain't heard
wasted
his
money.
name
All
all
none
year.
of those guys are worth a dime.
Couldn't even sign Boyd back.
Nope.
Boyd's actually been a really
And
good
by the
season
way,
in
Jason
Chicago.
made a big thing about how much the Cubs paid Boyd. He's been their best pitcher.
He's been